What's up, math scholars? Mrs. Harp here. We're doing some square roots to solve equations. Who's excited that it's Friday? Woo! Yeah! We had a lot of happy news today. There's some fun things going on this weekend. Sprinkling, volleyball tournaments, going out to eat with the relatives. So that'll be fun. Fun weekend. Hopefully it's not snowing all weekend. That'd be yucky. Alright, so here's your steps to solving using square roots. It's up to you if you want to write the steps down. If you don't want to write the steps down, you just want to do the math problem with me, that's fine. It's your choice. So you want to first of all isolate the variable that's being squared. So like the x squared, you want to isolate that part. You want to take the square root on both sides. When you do take a square root, you want to remember that there's going to be two answers, and to include the plus and minus sign accordingly. And then finally simplify and isolate x. Sometimes you have to do step 3, sometimes you don't. It depends. Alright, so here goes. I'm going to take that -9, we're going to move it over like we normally would if we were solving for a normal x. 18 plus 9 is 27. At this point, we'll move our 3 by dividing, just like we always used to, giving us x squared equals 9. And this is the new thing for today. We'll finish it off with a square root. Square roots are the only way you can get squares to kind of cancel out. They're inverse operations of each other. The square root of 9, you probably know it in your head, but if you need to type it in, go ahead and type it in. The square root of 9, the calculator will give you 3. But you have to be smart enough to realize -3 would also work. -3 times -3 is a positive 9 as well. So you'll have your two answers. Okay. No questions on that one?
Is there ever like a time that it won't be positive?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and have the students try these two on your own. If you're watching the video, go ahead and pause the video and try these all by yourself, and we'll be back to check.
What's up, math scholars? Your teacher, Jalen, is here, and I will be teaching you this part A over here. So as a start, we will divide by 2 to cancel out for the 8. Yeah, that's explained bad, but whatever. So then to get rid of the x squared, oh my goodness, you get rid of that, the squared with the square root, and your problem, your answer, will be x equals 2. Any questions, class?
Miss Jalen, shouldn't we have a plus or minus in front of the answer? Because there's two answers when you do square roots?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we had another teacher come up. Got 0 for the answer because the -18 plus 18 was 0. And you're good. That only has one answer. So maybe that answers the question. There's not always two answers. All right. We'll do this next one together because something super strange happens. What would be my first step on part C? Louise, subtract the 12 over to the other side. So that gives me b squared equals -7. And I can already see some of you grabbing the calculators. Arjun, I saw you. What did the calculator tell you when you tried to square root a -7?
Domain error.
Domain error. And what that means is there's no solution. There's no real solution. You will learn that there's actually an imaginary solution, but you won't learn that until Algebra 2. So no real solution would be the best answer. Good, right for that one. Okay? Anytime you try to square root a negative, and you get a error, just write no solution. All right, go ahead and let's do D together. What should I try to do first? Subtract the 12. A -8 and a -12 is -20. What would happen next? Divide by 5. And then that same darn thing happens. You cannot square root a negative. So at this point, you write no real solution. Alright, so let's go ahead and give this a try. Our problem is x minus 7 in a group with the squared on the outside, and then all that equal to 6. You are not allowed to do a plus 7 at this time because the x and the 7 are trapped in their little group because of the squared. So we have to actually start off with our square root. And at that point, you will need to add to the calculator because you're going to get a decimal. So let's see what the square root of 6 is. I would round to the nearest hundredth, so 2.45. How does that sound? Now don't forget, in front of the 2.45, you want that plus or minus symbol. At this time, it's going to get a little bit different. You're going to write x minus 7 equals positive 2.45. And you're also going to write x minus 7 equals negative 2.45, because both of these are solutions. So you can put the word and here, because they are both going to be solutions. We would go ahead and add a 7 on this side and get 9.45. And now the biggest mistake people make is they assume the answer over there is going to be a negative 9.45. Guess what? Not the case. Not the case at all. When you come over here and you add your 7 to both sides, you would want to type it in. So negative 2.45 plus 7 is positive 4.55. It's a little bit shocking that these two answers are not opposites from one another. Cool. Did you follow? All right. We are going to get 6 people up to do the next problem, so let's just get the 6 people that are over here. So 2 per board, that we have a buddy who can help each other. And I'll help you if you're stuck as well. All right, people watching the video, I'm getting some people up to the board to work this problem out, so you can just hit pause and try it, and then we'll check the answer. Explanation. All right, so here were the steps we followed. We multiply both sides by a 3/4, allowing that 4/3 to cancel out at the beginning, way up here in the corner. Then we square rooted both sides, giving us k plus 6 is positive or negative 3.87. Then we separate it into 2 separate equations. Either k plus 6 is 3.87, and we solve it by subtracting 6. Just steal some answers off the board. It's negative 2.13. Or there's another possibility over here. We can subtract 6, giving us negative 9.87. There's your 2 answers. Okay. Both of those answers will work. All right, let's just get our next 6. So how about U4 and U2? Come on up, get a buddy that can work with you. People watching the video, you can pause and try this by yourself. Video. Alright, so my personal preference on this one is to get rid of the 3 immediately. If you want to distribute the 3 in, you absolutely can do that. 42 divided by 3 was... What was 42 divided by 3? 14. At that point, I was left with the x squared plus 5. So I subtracted the 5 over, got 9, and then square rooted both sides. So positive 3 and negative 3. Alright. Let's get our next 6, U2, U3, and U. You can get a buddy to work with. Go ahead and try this by yourself at home. On this one, if you're looking for some advice, I would recommend to distribute the 5 in. You have to distribute the 5 in. We cannot divide the 5 to the other side because there's 2 terms on the other side, and you can't really divide 11 like x squared by a 5. So distribute the 5 in to begin. Alright, just a quick recap for the video. We're going to start off by distributing that 5 in. 5 times 4 is 20x squared, and 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. My personal best choice for my next step was to move my 11 over to join the 20. That would allow me to work in the land of the positives, I call it, because 20 minus 11 is a positive. If we had brought the 20 over, we'd be in the land of the negatives. So at this point, we can move... Oh, the 11 was gone. My bad. At this point, we can move the 15 over to join the 3 by doing a plus 15. That gave us an 18 on the left-hand side. And you have 2 more steps and you're done. Divide both sides by 9, which gives you 2, and then square root both sides. So when you end up square rooting a 2, you get positive and negative 1.41. Okay? So we're going to call it a day, and you can have the rest of the time to maybe grab a book from under your seat and start the homework. It is in the book. And it's just even problems, so make sure you realize that. Okay? Okay.